So today I have a meeting, and the next few days I have multiple days of training, and I wanted to show you my suitcase. So this is my heavy-duty suitcase, and you may wonder why I use a suitcase in the first place. First of all, it's got 4 wheels, so it's easy to drag. It's got a pull-out thing, and it's pretty heavy-duty. It's going to last me for decades. And this suitcase, I have everything I need for both my facilitated event later today and for about 6 trainings. Sometimes I might use a smaller carry-on bag, but this is really great. It's got zippered pockets and everything. So what's in the suitcase? Wow, all kinds of stuff. First of all, I had already taken out my sticky wall, so this is something that some of you may use, but it's just a piece of nylon ripstop. You can buy it from ICA USA, ICA Canada, various places in Asia, and partners in participation. I like this color. It's brand new. You spray it with Artist Mount spray, and then people can move data around. I keep it packed in a plastic bag because that keeps the stickiness, so I will tie it later and make sure I always carry it in a plastic bag. You can buy little ones too. This one's is from partnersinparticipation.com. There are lots of things. You might want to use this as a decor on a table. I have lots of different colored cloths, as you can see. And we're going to come back to how do we set a table. So the reason I'm showing this is because often you'll be having your meetings and the meeting can be extremely boring. The room can look very uninteresting. And to have a very simple cloth that you can just put on a table with some props is really helpful. So let's come back to that. What else is in here? Well, there's toys. I mean, that toy may not be appropriate for some groups, but for others, they're just going to love it. They can be noise makers. Whoa. So that's kind of a cool sound if you need to call groups back. A lot of people like these guys. So toys are very helpful for kinesthetic learners, and it gives them a chance to really have something in their hands while you're presenting, while other people are presenting, or you're just exploring some discussion topics. There are many, many different kinds of toys here. I also have chimes to ring a small group back. And then, of course, there are the usual markers. I do have some markers in here. I often carry my markers in a bag or a plastic container, and this is my latest purchase of Mr. Sketch. Lots of different colors. Markers are great because you're going to have your participants use them as well, and that's very helpful when they write their own data and they've got lots of color choices. Just a little tip, these bright yellow, green, orange, pink, they are not for your usual flip charting. They're for underlining or headlines. And then the darker colors, blues, browns, blacks, greens, are great for your normal writing. One of the markers that I really love are the Newland refillable markers. And they can be last for a fairly long time. You can see there's a little chamber in there. And I sometimes will bring my ink along with me if I run out. But generally I try and fill them up before I go. And this is very simple because it's got, you open up the top. Actually, you don't open up the top. You have a little pointer nib and you press it into the hole here, fill it up by squeezing the bulb, and then stick it in the hole in the pen and squeeze the ink out. Watch out, you might get ink on your fingers the first couple of times you do it. But it's well worth not having to throw out felt pens that often. So let me just tell you a little bit more about what's in here. Masking tape for hanging things up, painter's tape. There's adhesive spray mount for the sticky wall, and I sometimes have different kinds of makers, noise makers. In my pockets here I have extra paper and index cards in case I'm doing some energizers. I often will cut my paper in half when I'm using the sticky wall. And in my other pocket in the front, I have some cardstock. I fold that in half and people can make their own Kent cards. And when you have that, people can just decorate them. They can give them stickers and all kinds of fun colored markers. And that's really helpful to help people feel that you've got something really special going for your meeting. So let's come back to that setting a really nice meeting table. You've got this very uninteresting usual meeting room, and imagine you've just got a nice piece of cloth. This cloth is from my great colleague Tom Horibe out of Japan, and I could just place it very nicely as a square. I could crisp it up and I don't mean crisp, maybe just fold it like that. Sometimes you could have just a very simple display of fruit. You might have a little toy. You could grab a plant, which I'm grabbing from my house, an artificial plant, and voila, you've got kind of a nice centerpiece for your meeting. So here's what I'm telling you. Your meetings don't need to be boring anymore. You can create some beauty and intrigue visually. You can offer them things to work with their hands, kinesthetically. You can make sure that groups can talk as much as possible by getting them to small groups, ringing a bell or a soft noisemaker to bring them back, having them write their own data on cards or Post-its to make sure that they're very active during the meeting. So you have no excuse not to try some new tips for your meetings, and you might want to try us out at our virtual Meetings at Rock that's coming up in February. Thanks a lot. I'm Barbara McKay, North Star Facilitators.